What do we do for work exactly? And how is it that we and other YouTubers manage to earn a living for ourselves? Hello, Mama.
Hello.
Cheers it up.
Cheers.
You ready to discuss this topic?
I got my whiskey. We're out of wine, so I had to resort to a whiskey for tonight.
Welcome to the world of whiskey.
I feel very country.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you ready to discuss? Since this is by far the question that we are most commonly asked. I mean, it's the overwhelming number one question
Yes.
that we get in emails, comments, private messages. Do we work? That's a question for you.
Oh, you're asking me? Yeah, we work.
Speaking of, today was a very long work day for us. I got out at about 9 a.m. It is now currently 7:45 p.m. and the entire day has been filled with work.
Yeah.
So what exactly is it that we do for work?
So for work, it's such a complicated question when it comes to YouTube because we are building, but we're building for ourselves. But there's so much more to it because we are also filming the process, editing the process, getting these videos out online. And there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens that people aren't aware of.
And we can chalk all of that up as being our day-to-day work.
Right.
I think in average video for us, we post once a week. We probably invest 80 to 90 man hours for that one video is kind of what I've figured and calculated in my mind, in my head real quick.
Yeah, probably. We work probably 4 to 5 days of physical work a week. And those are usually 6, 7, 8-hour days. And then we go in at 6 o'clock, we make dinner, clean up dinner. And then I will usually edit till almost midnight. So we're looking at least 5 hours of editing in the evening as well.
So we're going to get to all of the ways that we and other YouTubers manage to earn a living for ourselves. We will go into more detail about that. But to answer that initial question that I asked you, what is it that we do for work? We do social media is what I always kind of have a tendency to respond to people with is all the video content, really primarily the video content that we put out earns us a living wage.
Yeah.
And it allows for us to do a lot of what it is that we do. It allows for a lot of the other people on YouTube to do what it is that they are doing.
Yeah. So I think that's a big question and a big misconception because it is relatively, it's a new way.
Yeah. I get that.
Making a living.
I understand the question and I totally get the curiosity of it because again, it is such a new thing. And I think most people understand and get that social media and doing YouTube specifically does earn you a stream of revenue. But I don't think everybody understands how that works. And I think there are still, despite what I just said, a lot of people who are in the dark about the fact that a lot of the content that they are consuming is earning the creator of said content money.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know why it's such a taboo thing to talk about in a way, because there's a lot of creators out there that are like, don't talk about the business end of YouTube because I guess it takes some of the romance out of it.
Yeah.
Viewers want to believe that all the creators out there that they love and that they watch are doing it just for fun. It's just a home movie.
Which is true in our case.
Yeah. But it's more than just a home movie. It's not like you go out there, shoot it in 1 hour, upload it, and it's an hour of footage and there's no editing. We're video creators. We're telling a complete story in 20 minutes that took place over a 7-day period.
That's right. And like we just mentioned, that's a very time-consuming process for the both of us. And a lot of it is actually just behind-the-scenes stuff that's happening. So can you kind of walk the folks watching and the folks listening through our average general work week?
Sure. Sure. Okay. So we have an abundance of projects that we have to do, and we're not out there trying to create projects for YouTube or anything like that. These are things that we've always wanted to do to build up our homestead or our property.
Speaking for ourselves.
For ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. There's other people that go out there and they do spectacle content, or they are doing projects specifically to make a video and put it on YouTube.
Correct.
But then a lot of the lifestyle vloggers, you're just kind of going through their week with them. And so for us, it's okay, what project do we have this week? We'll make our shopping list. You go shopping at Home Depot or wherever and get what we need. We start the video day one is usually like we get our intro done, and it's always a rough start. Video day one is always rough because we're also trying to figure out the project. We're not expert construction workers, so there's always that little learning curve with every single project.
Or video makers.
Yeah.
We're also not experts when it comes to that. So we
No.
we still, even at this stage of the game, have a tendency to kind of fall into the video by figuring things out as we go.
Yeah. And then we'll go in, we'll make dinner. I will edit in the evening time. I take a long time to edit because I refuse to go into an office and put on headphones and be absent from the family. A lot of people will use editors because then they can just ship the footage off
Right.
and they don't have to worry about it. But because we are telling our family's story, it's very, very important to us to have that full control over all of it, not show things that we don't want to show, especially pertaining to the kids, respect their privacy and things like that. So I need to have control of that. And so I can't just pass it off to an editor. So I will spend usually 5 hours in the evening editing, but I'm half editing and I'm half hanging out with everyone because I'm sitting in the living room. Eli's coming up to me and asking me 50 questions. I'm stopping, I'm Googling how far is Mars from the moon and, like whatever crazy questions he has that day. And so there's a lot of interruptions in my editing, but I prefer for it to take twice as long and be there and be present. So that adds a little complication too. I think if you didn't have kids, it would be easier.
So you address day one of a new project. We
That's
post
day
on a
one.
weekly basis, and something that you brought up with the amount of time that you invest with your editing process, there is a philosophy when it comes to making these videos on the earnings side of quality versus quantity. And so there are a lot of people that have a posting frequency of being every day, sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes every other day. We post once a week, but because of that, we just pour as much effort as we possibly can into the final edit.
Yeah. So there's different models for YouTube. There's definitely like quantity. Get out as much content as you
Right.
possibly can and rack up those views.
And the reason I bring this up is that there are a number, just like any small business, just like any industry, there are a number of different strategies that people will try to implement to maximize their earnings, given what it is that they're doing.
Yeah, it's just a different model. There's different models.
Right.
Or then there's the hero video model where you do one video a week. A lot of creators will do one massive, spectacular video a month, like a hero video. And so there's a lot of creators that we've met or know that will just do one a month
Right.
or just a couple a year, but they're like huge productions.
Pour themselves into it.
Yeah. So there's different models to it. We do the every Saturday, 8 a.m., Good Simple Living.
And so
Like-
the bigger discussion with all of the projects that we do, with the way that we do things, we roughly have to set a budget for ourselves for whatever it is that we are actually documenting within a given video. So if we're working on a project and it's going to cost us X amount of dollars, we need to take that into consideration and balance that against the earnings potential that a video has.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that doesn't equate. We actually lose money on a number of videos, but that's due in large part to the fact that we are taking on massive projects so oftentimes.
And that we own horses.
That as well, yeah.
All the horse projects have not.
Today
for
included, you
themselves.
guys will see on Saturday if you were a regular watcher of Good Simple Living.
Sorry. The horses were
Had
free.
to happen. It had to happen.
I told you the horses were free, but everything they needed wasn't. So I think the biggest misconception is, how do YouTubers make money? If you are not a YouTuber, there's not really any way for you to fully understand that. A lot of people aren't coming out and telling you all the different ways that we make money. So there are a lot of revenue streams. Some creators use one, some creators will use all of them.
Yeah, and there's an infinite number of things that somebody can do to utilize their online presence to earn money for themselves.
Yeah. So the number one way that YouTubers make money is through AdSense. And that is the Google ads that pop up on your video. They pop up before the video, after the video, during the video. Once you're monetized, which is usually, 1,000 subscribers?
It's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 total watch hours, which is a difficult threshold to meet for new YouTubers.
Yeah. So once you reach that, you apply for monetization, they set you up with an AdSense account, and now all of a sudden ads are on their video. Now you can make more money by placing more ads in the video. So there are creators that will place 10, 20 ads throughout a video.
So expand upon that. You were saying that, of course I know this, but a lot of people watching and listening might not. The person actually putting out the video has the ability to determine how many of those ad breaks will be within a video.
Yeah. Now I've heard creators say, because they'll have a bunch of ads, and then I've heard creators say, well, we don't control it. Google puts them on there. True and false. Google does put the ads on, but then you as a creator can easily go in and delete. They will put, on our 20-minute videos, they will literally put 12 to 15 ads in the video. So we're
Too
like,
many.
we delete them all and we'll leave 2. That's kind of, I usually leave 2 ads.
Right.
So, because you don't want to disrupt the video too much and you want your viewers to enjoy it and you can still be sustainable.
Yeah, you want to limit disruptions.
Right. So, if a creator says there's 10 ads and we don't control it, that's not
False.
true. Yes, that's not true. Yes.
False.
Creators 100% control whether there's ads and how many ads. What we do not control is the ad. So Google can put whatever they want and it's curated to the viewer.
Correct. Yeah, we have zero control over that. We have people who yell at us all the time saying, why are you showing me this commercial?
This political.
And we have nothing to do with that. That's all on Google's end.
Yeah, so it is election time now. We're kind of falling into that. So be prepared for all kinds of election ads. It is not the creator that chooses those ads because we were like, oh, I got a Trump ad. Oh, I got a Biden ad. Like, how dare you? And it's like, that's got to do with you, not us.
Okay, so to expand even further upon this, how is it that, what specifically is it that earns a YouTuber or a online social media content creator money? Is it the number of followers? Is it the number of subscribers that they have? Is it how many views they get on videos? Go ahead. I'll let you tackle that one because it's a very complex and complicated answer.
Okay, it's complicated, so we'll kind of give the quick version of it so we don't get too lost in
And
the
we are
weeds.
not experts. We are just speaking from our own experience. I want to reiterate that before we really dive into this.
So you do not get paid for subscribers. People that are like, if you unsubscribe, like this creator will make less money, or if they have 1 million subscribers, they're making more money. Subscribers don't make you a penny. You do not get paid for subscribers. You get paid for views and watch time, because views and watch time equate to that viewer getting to the ad. You will get paid for the ads.
Correct. And that is just the start of it. Mm-hmm. There are a number of factors that basically get plugged into an equation. What genre it is that you are operating within, who the viewer is as far as their demographics, how many of those ad breaks they've watched, what ads were included within those ad breaks. Was it a 5-second skippable ad or was it a 15-second non-skippable ad? They are worth different things. And not every view has the same value. It doesn't carry the same value. And in fact,
US viewers, you get paid more for US viewers than you do for Canadian viewers or UK viewers or.
And so other YouTubers will be aware of this, but although we're saying it's views that earn you dollars, your most highly viewed videos will not necessarily earn you the most money because again, it's such a complicated equation full of a number of factors.
Well, so our typical demographic is about 80% US viewers. And so those are going to be you're going to make more money doing that. If you have a channel that has, let's say 90% of their viewers are in India, they're going to be making significantly less because a lot of these ads that are paying Google for the ad space doesn't sell their product in that country. Therefore, they won't pay for a view in a country that they don't sell to. So that's why the US viewers pay more because a lot of the companies are United States companies and they only ship to, let's say they only ship to Canada and Mexico and the United States. They will only pay for those views. So
I hope all of this makes sense. And I know we are already kind of getting lost in in the wilderness with this explanation, but to be, just to reiterate, it is views that equate to earnings, generally speaking. And I think that AdSense revenue, all of these ad breaks that pop up within videos, I'm assuming this is a total assumption on my part, but I think it's the way that the overwhelming majority of YouTubers make money. There are other folks who find other means of coming up with new streams, new means and forms of revenue that have nothing to do with views. But I bet it's, everybody who's been monetized on the platform is making money off of those ad breaks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point of being monetized, is to make money off the ad break. So if an ad is playing during a video that you are watching, before, after, or during the video, your creator is making money.
Okay. Right. So views.
Okay.
What else we got?
So AdSense is only one way. There are multiple ways of making money on YouTube. And again, some creators use just AdSense. Other creators will use 5 or 6 different revenue streams. So the second thing is private sponsorships. So when you see this video is sponsored by, and then the creator goes in to make their own commercial, we do 60-second mid-rolls.
Correct.
Then that is another revenue stream. And it's like the Google commercials, but instead of putting in a Google ad that we don't control, that's random, we will pick products that we like, that we want to endorse, that we think our viewers will like, and we will create our own commercial. So instead of running someone else's commercial, we will create our own commercial and plug that in.
Yeah, it's just a means of diversification. So when it comes to Google AdSense, really, we are at the will and mercy of Google or YouTube. We don't know how much it is that we're going to get paid going into it. We don't know the rate at which we are going to be paid. And so to help offset those things that are outside of our control, we take on things like those private sponsorships.
Yeah, and the sponsorships are great because they do make the project sustainable. They keep us able to make these videos, and we're also able to push products that we believe in and that we like. And so I like that we're able to be really picky about the products that we talk about and that our family uses and that we can share with our viewers.
Yeah, and it's great to form those bonds and relationships with a lot of the folks who work at these companies.
Yeah, it's good to have.
Okay, so we have private sponsorships. Those differ a little bit from the AdSense, but again, for us, the way we view it, it's basically just diversification of revenue.
Yep. And then the third way that people make money, this is not something that we've ever done, but it's a third revenue stream, is these outside membership-based platforms. So maybe you have your own platform or website and people pay a monthly fee to view videos or content that's only on that platform, or Patreon would be another example of that.
Yep.
Where you just have private Patreon videos. And
and for us, and this isn't me trying to be judgmental, I'm just speaking specifically for us as far as strategy goes and the way that we kind of view things and what it is that we're doing. We don't, in fact, we mentioned it on our podcast with Zach King, is that we don't try to wring out our audience to make as much money for ourselves as possible. And again, I'm not trying to say that in a way that passes judgment upon anybody else. We are all for people making money and maximizing their efforts to earn hopefully a really nice living for themselves and their family. So we're going to dive into some other categories and ways that people make money, but a lot of these things we actually don't do.
Yeah. So then the other way that a lot of creators will make a revenue stream is through merchandise. They'll have their own hats and sweatshirts and t-shirts, and sometimes they will outsource that. Sometimes they will make them in-house and ship them out themselves, and that's its own business in it. It's under the umbrella.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's under the umbrella of their channel, but it becomes its own business. So it's
and
a
in
merchandise
fact, I
business.
heard from a really large creator, and he said that makes up about 85% of his annual earnings comes through merch, which is huge when you take everything else into consideration. This guy's making a lot of money to begin with. And so for him to specify that portion was coming completely from merchandise was amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. So we dabbled with merch, but it wasn't a profitable thing for us at all. And we were just doing it through this third-party website. And it was mostly just to...
It's a very hands-off approach, and you could tell.
Yeah, we made our prices literally at cost. So we didn't make any money off of it. We just wanted people to be able to get good, simple living merch at like a really low price. The problem was that the quality wasn't great, and like the logo was literally washing off, and people were writing us and we're like, we don't make it.
The blue hoodie that I wear all the time in our videos is actually a good, simple living hoodie. You just can't tell because there's no logo left.
Maybe it's invisible and you can like go in a dark room and it will glow.
Exclusive.
Anyway, we couldn't control the quality of it, so we just nixed it and stopped doing it because we didn't want people to feel like they were.
Yeah, and it's just something we weren't very passionate about. Like I said, we're not in the merch game.
Yeah.
And not to say we, never say never, but it's not something that we've explored.
Yeah. So then outside of merch is you're having your own product. So I'm seeing a lot of creators have chocolate, tea, coffee, calendars,
Tools,
toys, like even like I saw one channel where they had like a plush that had something to do with like an animal that they had or something like that. And they're selling like this little stuffed animal. Like we could have a stuffed Manny that we sold.
Cool. So again, to me, this is all just diversification so that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. It's kind of like any brand. Like if you go into a winery and they sell wine, they sell t-shirts, they sell magnets, they sell cups and glasses and things like that. Like there's all kinds of different products, and they'll have, wine club and things like that. Of course I pick a winery. It's because I'm out.
So what else though, when it comes to the product side of things, because there are things like dedicated videos where companies will actually hit you up and ask you to make a dedicated video based on their brand or their product that they want to push out and get to an audience.
Yeah, I think audiences have seen those too, where it's like, we're trying out the power, blah, 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 electric generator or solar generator or whatever it is. And so you'll often see that it's in the title, or we're riding electric bikes, 50 miles, da, da, da. If you see the brand in the title, it's probably a dedicated video.
Right.
And so you do get paid significantly more for a dedicated video than for a 60-second commercial. Yep. And That's another revenue stream. There's a lot of channels actually that just do dedicated videos, or they do a lot of them, and they're kind of product review channels.
Yeah.
And they get sent these products, and they're not just getting sent the product, they're getting paid to do a dedicated video, a full commercial for them that's 10 minutes long.
Yeah, that's great. Such an interesting space for somebody to carve out for themselves.
Yeah, a lot of tech people and stuff do things like that.
Yeah, it's so weird. So what else are we missing here that we haven't touched upon?
You can also be approached by a brand to do outside commercials that aren't on your channel. So we have actually done that once with Anchor. We love Anchor and all their generators and everything. We use them regularly.
Great product and company.
I have one in my pantry that I pull out and, make it work. So we got paid to do commercials for them. They came out here, they sent photographers, a producer, and they filmed all day, and they made like 8 little mini commercials that they were going to throw on Instagram because they were doing an Instagram thing. And it wasn't just our channel. I think they did 4 or 5 different channels, and they came out and they filmed these short little 60-second reels, a bunch of them, and they've just been kind of sprinkling them out all year long.
That was a fun day. It was a fun time.
That was an interesting experience.
It was.
Yeah.
There have been a number of those along the way.
Yeah. It was kind of, we sort of said yes to it because it was a new experience, and we're trying new experiences right now in our life.
Yeah. So of all of the things that we've brought up thus far, what is it that makes the most money for a creator?
I think it
really depends.
It totally depends.
Yeah.
If you're a dedicated video person, if you're a tech person that's reviewing products for Apple, that's making you the most.
A ton of money.
Yeah, that's great. So, but I mean, again, some people do all of those things. They do all of it. And then there's also branching into other platforms. So you can build a YouTube channel, and then you can branch into Instagram and then start doing reels and start doing Instagram sponsor reels.
Yep.
There's stories, and they're kind of the same as that 60-second integration, only they're just like a little reel in your stories.
Right.
And so they're getting paid for that separately from everything else, and they were able to build that platform off of YouTube or vice versa. It's, they've got an Instagram following, and then they move to YouTube or TikTok or Snapchat, or
any of these social media platforms.
All of them. There's so many.
I think it's worth pointing out because I think most folks have a grasp of this reality, and that social media is actually an industry. And when you are watching a YouTube channel, when you are watching somebody on Facebook that's pumping reels and content into their Facebook page, what you are actually viewing is a small business, or sometimes a very, very large business. I mean, there are folks now that are employing dozens of people, hundreds of people from a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, they're responsible for literally meeting a payroll on a however often basis.
It's a lot of pressure
It
to
really
have
is.
if you have 30 people that you need to create a living wage for.
Dependent upon you, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure on a channel, but people are doing it, and they're rocking it, they're killing it, they're building a whole massive
Empire
thing.
for themselves.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for, empire around their channel. It's not what we're looking to do. It's just us. We don't have an editor. We don't have any
Mom and pop.
Yeah, we don't have
Like
any
I always
employees.
say, like I always tell people, mom and pop operation.
Our employees are our farm animals, and we don't do the merch. Maybe one day. We don't now. We don't have a product. Maybe one day, but we don't. We don't use any outside stuff. So we just do AdSense and private sponsors.
There's a perception that comes along with doing some of these sponsorship spots sometimes. Can you touch upon that?
Yeah, I think there is a perception when all of a sudden you're watching a channel, and then all of a sudden they say this video is sponsored by, and then they do their own little commercial for whatever brand it is.
A few months ago, Melissa and I told you about a service that we were using called Delete Me in an effort to hopefully get some of our personal information removed from the internet. We keep getting these weird phishing emails, and we wanted to put a stop to it. When we used Delete Me, we could not believe how many websites had our information and were actually selling it.
Through using their service, we learned that there are corporations out there called data brokers that scour the web looking for your personal identifiable information. They will use public information sites, government sites, and sadly, even your own social media. They will then create a profile using your birthday, your social security number, past addresses, and even your family members. They will license it, and they will sell it to other data brokers, companies, and really anyone with an interest in your personal information.
That's right. These data brokers put you and your loved ones at risk for things like phishing, scams, and identity theft.
Thankfully, Delete Me is there to help, and the best part is it is super simple to use. You just sign up and you will get a welcome email right away. After our very first scan, they found out that 49 different data brokers had our information, so their privacy experts took it from there, and the coolest thing is it just continually scans the web to make sure that our private identifiable information doesn't pop up elsewhere.
Delete Me also offers a family plan, so you can protect not only yourself, but your family members all under one plan. This is especially important for some of your elderly family members, as they so oftentimes are the target of these scammers.
To give Delete Me a try for yourself and for those you care about, just click the link below or go to joindeleteme.com/GSL and use our code GSL to get 20% off all consumer plans.
Melissa and I want to thank Delete Me for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Now let's get back to our conversation.
So, some people are like, oh no, like I was talking to your uncle and he was like, I was watching this boat channel and I love them, but I just unsubscribed and I can't watch them anymore. And I was like, why? And he's like, because they did a sponsor and I thought, you know what, they're sellouts and I'm not going to watch them anymore. And I was like, well, if they give you free entertainment, like you just go on YouTube and these are free videos and you love them and you watch them every single week, why don't you want them to make money off the videos and be able to continue making these free videos for you?
So it's sustainable.
Yeah, so it's sustainable. So they're able to travel and fix their boat and do all that. And he was like, I just don't like it. Like they need to just do what they were doing before. And it's like, I was like, well, were they running ads before? And he was like, yeah, there was like, little Google ads that play during. I'm like, it's the same thing. Only those are other companies' commercials versus they're making their own and they're being choosy about what products they're pushing. It's the same thing. And he was kind of like, well, it doesn't feel the same to me. And he was still mad and he was unsubscribing.
Yeah, and we've gotten some of that and
Yeah.
that's fine. That's, a viewer's prerogative and decision to make.
Yeah.
And we have to look out for, the best interests of ourselves and our kids. And, again, this takes a lot of time. It takes up a ton of our time and we end up sacrificing time and moments with our kids. And to us, just like any other job, just like any other profession, you are sacrificing time for literally a specific, rate of payment per hour.
You trade your time for payment. And if you can't make any money doing it, then it's not sustainable full time.
Yeah, then why do it?
We would have to go get full-time jobs and you're not going to get a good simple living video on a Saturday because we would not be home to make it. We wouldn't have the time to make it.
That was our reality for a long time, forever, literally, up until a few years ago.
And we used to, you worked and then I kind of fell into YouTubing accidentally. I didn't even realize that you could turn it into a job. And so that was kind of weird. It was, and then when I was like, we should do that full time, you were like, no.
Yeah, we had no idea. A lot of people have asked us about retirement. So I retired from the police department, but I won't be able to collect on that pension until age 53. And so a lot of folks have asked us, on top of what it is you do for a living and what do you do for work and all that, when they figure out, so social media, when I specify it for them, they go, what are you going to do about retirement? Well, we're going to fund our own retirement. Or how is it that you have health insurance? Well, we pay for our own health insurance out of our own income.
Like any other private business. So if you own a business, if you own a restaurant or a gym or you started a business at home, you have to pay for your own health insurance. You have to fund your own retirement. It is no different than anyone else that is self-employed. Yeah, real estate agents.
Like any other entrepreneurial venture.
Yeah. And that's really what it is. So I think it's taboo because when you're sharing your life and there's a perception of these are these people's home videos and it's so pure and wonderful. Like you don't want to think about the fact that there is business behind the scenes of it. And I understand that, but it's not the reality of it. And I think it's better to just be honest and it is what it is. It doesn't mean that that's not our family. It doesn't mean that these videos aren't pure and important to us.
Incredibly meaningful to us.
Yeah. So we're still showing our family, we're still showing our life, but we have taken what we love and this passion for making videos and creating kind of an online journal for our family, and we've made it work.
That sounds kind of weird when you put it in those terms.
Well,
and I know that's something
it's like any passion. You take your find what you love
like
and call it work.
Or a musician or I mean, I guess the perception is that it has a tendency to kind of muddy the waters, and whenever you include money into something, it corrupts. Which I understand that viewpoint entirely, and believe me, there are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that are proof of that. Speaking of behind the scenes, can you talk about what is involved, some of the actual behind the scenes things that happen on a day to day and week to week basis for us with treating things as, our livelihood.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to be pretty organized and you have to make sure you stay self-driven because that is your revenue. And there's a lot of emails and Zoom calls and phone calls that happen.
I love when that happens.
Jeremy,
It's my favorite part of what we do.
Jumping on a Zoom call. So yeah, I'm usually on the Zoom calls by myself. He's like, "You got it," as he Homer Simpson.
I'm like, "Hey, do you
room.
need me on this call?" She's like, I'm like, "Okay, I'll be outside working on something. Thanks, hon."
He's out there chopping wood, anything, but to avoid the Zoom.
Why can't we just do a regular phone call? Why can't we just do an email? Why does it have to be a face-to-face thing where we stare at each other awkwardly and have these awkward audio pauses?
I don't know. I feel like phone conversations go more smoothly, and you don't have to put on makeup or a bra for them. Like.
Talk about the last one that you just had that I ditched you on and how you were dressed and how you felt.
You ditched me. So we were talking about a possible collaboration for the podcast, actually. Amazing family. I'm really excited to have them on as guests and to go on theirs and everything. But they were so put together. The Zoom call was at 9 and something happened on the property and it was 9:15. They're texting me saying we're on the call and I'm outside and I'm, oh no, like I forgot. So I shoved a John Deere hat on my head and my hair was all just frizzy from humidity. I had no makeup on. I had my pajama shirt on. I'm pretty sure it had alfalfa all over it. And I'm just like, I buzz on the call really fast. They're in like, his wife is so beautiful. Her hair was all curled and her makeup was perfect. He had a dress shirt on. He's like, yeah, I was outside on the farm too this morning. I'm like, why do you look like that? And I look like this. I look like I had been chasing pigs for the last 2 hours. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. I can't wait to come.
This is why a phone call should suffice.
I know. They would have had no idea. I was such a mess. But now they know. And they didn't care, which made them
funny times.
Perfect. Yeah.
Funny story.
Yeah. So that's why Zoom calls are my nightmare.
So there are a lot of emails. There are a lot of private messages that we try to respond to. There are a lot of comments that are on our videos. There are a lot of comments that are on Facebook. And we do our best to respond to all of those while also homeschooling our children, trying to maintain some sense of normalcy around here, and then attacking a project over multiple days while also planning our next video while we're still working on our current video. And so there is a lot that goes into it. I can't emphasize it enough. I mean, I come from a world of law enforcement where I was regularly working. I mean, my standard shift was 10 and a half hours. I had a lot of 12, 14, 16, 18, even 19-hour days. That was my longest shift, and that was a policy violation, but I stayed there for 19 and a half hours, and I was actually just beat. But I will say that we put in a lot of work and a lot of effort with everything it is that we try to get done. And while law enforcement was a lot, so is social media.
Yeah, it is. There's just so many different hats that you wear, and you don't have to. You can hire a manager and an editor and a film crew and an agent.
You can outsource to make things easier on yourself.
All of that. We don't outsource anything. We go find our own sponsors and we do our own editing and we do our own filming and all of that. So we just like to keep things very simple as possible, so that we're not bringing more people in. This is our story and our little thing that we have built, and so we just like to keep it that way.
So again, to reiterate, when you're viewing social media, whether it be sometimes photos, whether it be especially video content, understand that regardless of the size of that channel, big, massive, medium, small, just starting out, those are all businesses or in some cases empires or aspiring businesses that are just starting out. And YouTube, especially in today's day and age, it is a very difficult thing to make it work for you. It's a very, very hard thing to do. And it's why you see so many people get scrubbed out early on, because it's so difficult to even reach that monetization threshold of being approved for a Google AdSense account.
Yeah. And when you're trying to work full time and succeed at social media, it makes it really hard. It makes it really difficult. So I think a lot of times people just go all in, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. It's a huge risk.
Yeah. So, yeah. To go back, and there's a very complex and complicated answer to this, but why do you think that it is so taboo? Because it definitely goes beyond it's a rude thing to talk about. It's a rude thing to discuss openly. It's it's sucking the romance out of the videos. I think it goes a step further than that. Would you agree or no?
I don't know. I think it's just so new. So when we were in high school and we were taking all those career field things, and it was YouTuber wasn't on the list. It didn't exist. The internet didn't even exist when we were taking those career things, let alone being able to make your own movie like you're Steven Spielberg or something and then put it on this free platform and then have Google, the biggest corporation, pay you for ad space like you're a television show. It's all very foreign, and I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding around it. So
I agree, but why not discuss it more openly then? Because there is so much mystery around it, and there's such a broad range of what people are making. There are people, Mr. Beast, who is essentially the biggest YouTuber on the platform, had a valuation for his channel and I think his back library, just a brand overall, at $1 billion with a B.
Yeah.
Dollars. And obviously he is an outlier in that sense, and that's not 99.99% of us. But I think because it's clouded with so much mystery, it generates a lot of curiosity, which again is completely understandable. But at the same time, I don't fully understand seemingly everyone's reluctance to acknowledge it for what it is. I find it odd.
I don't know. I mean, other career fields, they say this is what you would make if you're in this career field, and it's perfectly acceptable and accepted and expected that you receive a paycheck for the hours of work that you put into it. And for some reason, with being on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, there does seem to be a little taboo cloud around that, like, ooh, they shouldn't make money for that.
Yeah, I think it just comes across differently. I think there's a feel to it, and people are afraid of generating animosity that's going to be directed at them. Because so oftentimes when we get this too, we get the critiques and comments and remarks from people about how what we do is not work. And I understand that. I do, because we didn't always do this for a living, and I was a cop for 13, almost 14 years before we actually jumped into this space. So I understand it. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but I get why people form that opinion and perception based on what they're seeing, especially when the content is very happy, upbeat, and fun. And
I think it's no different than being like a commentator or something like that. There's people that go on and they give their opinions and they're speaking on a video. It's really no different than any of that. Or in watching a television show that you like and enjoy, when there's a commercial break and they play 4 or 5 commercials and they get back to the program, it makes it so that they can continue making that show. Otherwise, they couldn't make the show if they weren't making any ad revenue off of it. The network's getting paid to have these television shows on there by advertisers, and that's why we have TV. So,
yeah.
Unless you're PBS and it's all private, and that's all private donors. But like PBS can't even exist without donors. It costs money to make content.
Yeah, and I think from a viewer standpoint, if you pay attention to the things that are going on, you can form a vague general idea about how much money somebody is managing to generate for themselves, and I think it's to be celebrated. Like we've brought up before, we've met people like Dude Perfect, or it's just such a beautiful thing. I think that it's literally the epitome of the American dream when somebody like even ourselves can leave a line of work that I'm trying to choose my words wisely here, but it's a line of work that wasn't necessarily. It was less than ideal. Right now, we get to spend time with each other. We get to spend more time with our kids. I mean, there'd be weeks that would go by, literally like 5 straight days, where I wouldn't see our kids if I was working graves, or I'd see them very briefly on a day-to-day basis. And for YouTube and social media to exist in this time, and for it to provide people like us with an opportunity to live the life that we've always dreamt for ourselves, it's such an amazing thing. It's such an amazing opportunity, and something that I'm so grateful for.
It's also a really incredible tool that I think has helped. Like there's definitely smut online, right? There's people using
no shortage.
They're using their YouTube channel to funnel people to like an OnlyFans page or something like that. I don't have that's its whole other issue. But there's a lot of good on YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. There's good positive entertainment for kids. There's good role models for kids. There's workout videos to help you get in shape. There's yoga videos. There's videos that talk about
how to build. How about that?
Yeah.
That's something that's had a tremendous impact on our lives. We literally wouldn't be sitting here doing what we're doing had it not been for YouTube, which is funny to think about. And I didn't mean to disrupt you. It's funny to think about when I reflect back upon 2006, 2000 through 2012, when I was watching cat piano videos on YouTube. And I never thought that would be something that would change our lives so drastically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that YouTuber Dad How Do I, and I really like him. He's kind
it's
of
a
like,
great channel.
yeah, he's just your all-American dad, and he started a channel for people that don't have dads that answers questions that you would call and ask your dad. Dad, how do I tie a tie? How do I shave my face? How do I change a tire? And he has these how-to quick videos for young adults or anyone really, kids, adults that don't know how to do this basic stuff that you would call your dad for. And what an amazing resource. What a cool idea.
And he comes across so kind
Yeah.
and loving and genuinely
He is so
caring.
kind and loving. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the video, you're like, thanks, Dad. And I have a dad.
It's like Essential Craftsman. It's another
Yes.
great YouTube channel, and he does a lot of how-to videos when it comes to building. And so I watched a number of their videos in the time that we were, building the room that we're sitting in here, this tiny home space, and our home, obviously. And he has just such a reassuring presence about him, and he leaves every video. He leaves the viewer, he leaves you feeling like it's like, hey, thanks, Dad. Thanks for the encouragement.
You can do this.
I love you, Dad.
Yeah. And there's just great things like MB motivators out there just doing these kindness challenges or just surprising random strangers with different things. And they're so amazing. Like they very seldom don't leave me in tears. It's just great, good content that makes you feel good. There's commentators out there that are talking about current events. There are, like some of the stuff that Eli watches where he's learning about populations and presidents. And there's so much history content out there. If you're a homeschooler, YouTube is just a wealth of knowledge. So there's so many good things. There's people out there doing these massive charity projects.
Yeah.
We do our pediatric toy drive every year. We could not do that at the scale, even close to the scale that we do it without our platform and without our subscribers and our viewers and our fans.
Community.
Yep. Our community is amazing. Every year they rally around this. Before, we would adopt a family every year, one family. And we were able to touch one family. And this was something that we just always did as a Christmas tradition. When we started YouTube and we had this platform, we thought, how cool would it be to do something together with everybody and bless hundreds of people? And so we've been able to do that. And we're not the only ones doing that. I would like to see more charity on YouTube. I wish more people would use their platforms for it because it is so awesome to do with your community, for yourself, for your family. And it gives people ideas. It sparks ideas.
It's the right thing to do. You already know where I fall on that.
Yeah. So when we did the grocery video, that was like a crazy thing. Last year I won, if you haven't seen it, I won a year of free groceries from Safeway Albertsons. They give it away to one person, and somehow I ended up winning this contest.
You were it.
Yeah, it was really weird. And so I felt like it was a God thing because we had this YouTube channel, and I felt like God was like, she's going to give it away. Just give it to her. And then she'll just give it to everyone. And that was a way of taking this massive prize and then spreading it through a bunch of people that needed it. So I felt like we were just like kind of a little vessel for that project, and this was all God's plan. And so we decided to call Safeway, say, hey, if you double the prize, we will make a YouTube video for you. And it will be like that was kind of like a dedicated video in a way. Because
that's a prime example.
Yeah.
Right.
Safeway was like, sure. And they sent us $10,000.
Well, they sent us, we won 5,000.
Yeah.
They sent an additional 5,000
Right.
after we had talks with them about our idea and what it is we wanted to do. Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
And the deal was you have to make a YouTube video, you have to film it in our store, and you have to give every penny away. We were like, yep, we got it. So we started giving away these groceries and we made this whole video, but we were able to we just found the most incredible people that had these certain stories that needed to get out, and they didn't have a way of getting their story out there, or they never wanted to ask for help or anything. And in this way, they never had to. Their story was just aired on YouTube. It got over 1 million views. And then people started going, I want to help that person. I want to help that person.
Yeah, it took on a snowball effect.
It did. So there was this ripple effect that came from it. And there were 2 stories in particular that were featured in that video that a bunch of people rallied behind and then changed those families' lives.
Yeah.
And so all of these things happened because of social media. They didn't happen because of us. They happened because there was this platform that went out to the public and they viewed it. And it's just such a beautiful thing. So there's a lot of really, really incredible things happening on the internet.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that, there is a massive amount of negative kind of smut online and specifically on social media. We've all seen it and is what it is. But at the same time, there are a number of really amazing, fantastic things that are also occurring. And we choose to focus on that. We've always chosen and made the decision to focus primarily on that as much as we possibly can. And we will continue to do so. So the same thing applies just for the state of the world currently. Things are kind of a mess. And despite it all, it's so easy to become fixated on it, but you have to remind yourself and remember that there are also a number of very amazing, positive things that are occurring. And we're very blessed and fortunate to be living in the time that we are currently living in, because life really for us, especially for people here in our country, life really has never been better at any given time.
Yeah.
Prior to this.
It's easy to dwell on things and not appreciate that and not be thankful for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of an odd thing. It is the number one question we get asked. We've never really sat down and answered it before. There was never really an appropriate space to do that.
Yeah, and obviously we're not getting too specific with things here, but people are managing to take care of themselves and their families, and some people are doing really, really well online to their credit. It's a lot of work. It requires a lot, and it can take a really long time to make a single buck in the social media space, to make a single dollar. But it's very exciting when you finally do. And it's a good thing. And hopefully from a viewer standpoint, nobody takes that fact, that reality, and holds it against anyone, because, hey, we're all out here trying to earn a living. We're all trying to take care of ourselves and our families. And social media is just one of many ways that any one of us can do that.
Yeah, I think it's great to, support your favorite creators and try to encourage people that are out there doing good, positive things. There's a lot of people out there doing good, positive things.
But at the same time, I will say, watch with a discerning eye, because kind of like you put money into anything, it can cause issues with some folks. So support the people that you enjoy watching and you appreciate their efforts. But just be aware of the fact that social media is like I said, it's a number of small businesses, and people will do crazy things to try to earn a buck for themselves sometimes. So be aware of that as well.
Yeah. It's definitely a breeding ground for scammers as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't want to go back now because we're doing so well, but there's a lot of people doing some pretty nefarious things online.
Yeah, people shouldn't be like,
Okay, you want to give an update on Toy Drive and fundraiser?
Yeah, so we actually closed the Amazon wish list on Monday, so that part is concluded. All the items will be trickling in this week, and then we'll be packaging them all up and bring them down there on the third week of November. We're still playing with days. It's going to be a little bit different this year, so that's exciting. And we still have the financial. Well, I don't want to give away too much. And then we still have the financial aspect open right now. Yeah. So we have a goal of raising $25,000. Jeremy has pledged to walk, jog, and run 1 mile for every $1,000 that comes in.
I'm in trouble. Let's put it that way. I'm in trouble.
We want Jeremy to sweat. Last year, we actually raised $60,000. I don't think we're going to do that this year because we had some really big donors last year.
We had some massive donations last year, but we have also recruited some assistants in the case that I cannot make whatever the total mileage ends up being. So
yeah, and I think that'll be really fun for the kids watching too, because it'll be some little cameos that they'll be excited about for sure.
Yeah.
So that'll be really fun. The financial aspect is still open. We're going to keep that open until pretty much the night before we go and drop everything off. So for now, you can still donate via PayPal. We're going to have all that information down below. Send it friends and family, though, because if you don't send it friends and family, then PayPal takes fees out, and that stinks. So 100% of the money goes right to the families and the kids if you send it friends and family. And you can also mail a personal check. Our P.O. box is below. Make those checks out to the Childhood Cancer Coalition, not to us. Childhood Cancer Coalition. And then we will bring all those checks down when we bring the toys.
Very cool. Yeah. Our pole barn is full of boxes thanks to you guys. And I'm looking at my mileage. This is going to be so hard to do.
It's going to be awesome.
I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to give it my best.
Snowing.
I don't know that I'm going to do the whole thing outside. I might just do it on the treadmill because then I can track my mileage really easily. And you know what we forgot on this episode? Chip and Joanna couldn't make it once again.
They couldn't make it this
week. They will be back next week.
Will they?
Probably not.
I don't know. Well, we're going to see. They were just busy this week again.
That's all it was.
Oh, I also want to say that I don't think that they are aware of us or that we're actually asking. We had a couple people that were pretty upset. So she posted something on Instagram and there were a lot of people, I love you guys. You're so sweet for supporting us. But there were some people that were like, go on their podcast. And that's so funny. But
Why
then
are you
there were
dodging them?
some people that
Stop
were
dodging them, man.
angry at them. Like, I'm so disappointed that they said they were busy. We're just joking when we say that. They don't know we exist.
Hey, we said either it's going to happen or it's going to result in a restraining order.
Well, at this rate, I think we're going to end up getting a restraining order. So
Exciting times.
they're not dodging us. They just don't know that we're alive. But one day they're going to come on.
Next week.
Next week, they're going to come on.
In all seriousness, we are talking to a few potential guests currently, and we're hoping to have the first of those on very soon, potentially next week.
Hopefully
so we'll see.
next week. Yeah. Yeah. Very exciting.
Okay. I'm going to close this down. I'm exhausted. I had like 5 hours of sleep last night and I've been working all day, like I pointed out earlier. So,
All right. Yeah. You worked hard.
okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Love you guys. Love you, mama. Cheers it up.
Cheers.
Boom. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys on Saturday with Good Simple Living. And then we'll be back next week here on GSL Uncut with a new podcast episode. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you. And we will see you then.